Cleta Mitchell is an American lawyer, politician and conservative activist elected in 1976. Mitchell served in the Oklahoma House of Representatives until 1984, representing District 44 as a member of the Democratic Party. In 1996, she registered as a Republican. Since then, she has worked as a Republican lawyer and conservative activist after Democratic candidate Joe Biden won the 2020 presidential election. Mitchell aided Donald Trump in his efforts to overturn the election results and pressure election officials to find sufficient votes for him to win. After participating in a telephone call in which Trump appeared to pressure Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger to alter the election results, Mitchell resigned as a partner at Foley and Lardner. Cleta Mitchell was born as Cleta on September 16, 1950, in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. She attended Classen High School her junior and senior year. In 1971, Mitchell was one of the 5 original conveners of the Oklahoma Women's Political Caucus. She received a BA in 1973 and a JD in 1975, both from the University of Oklahoma. As a student, she was a proponent of the women's rights movement and campaigned for the passage of the Equal Rights Amendment and for legal recognition then denied in Oklahoma of a homemaker's contribution to the value of a married couple's estate. She considered U.S. Senator Margaret Chase Smith of Mene her role model. Mitchell served as a member of the Oklahoma House of Representatives from 1976 to 1984. As member of the Democratic Party, in her second term, Mitchell chaired the Oklahoma House Appropriations and Budget Committee. She served on the Executive Committee of the National Conference of State Legislatures. She was a fellow at the Harvard Kennedy School's Institute of Politics in 1981. Mitchell returned to politics and ran unsuccessfully for Oklahoma Lieutenant Governor in 1986. In 1996, Mitchell switched her political affiliation from Democratic to Independent, and then to the Republican. In 1991 she moved to Washington, D.C. to become a pro-term limits activist. That year, she was named executive director of the Term Limits Legal Institute. She was co-counsel for the petitioners in the U.S. Supreme Court case U.S. Term Limits, Inc. v. Thornton, in which the court held that the federal constitution precluded state governments from imposing term limits for federal office. Until January 2021, Mitchell was a partner in the Washington, D.C. office of Foley and Lardner, resigning due to its concern about her involvement in the call Trump made to attempt reversal of the Georgia certified votes in the 2020 election. She has served as legal counsel for the National Republican Senatorial Committee, the National Republican Congressional Committee, and the National Rifle Association. She has represented St. Elizabeth Dole, St. Gordon Smith, St. Marco Rubio, and Rep. Tom Cole. She has also represented Tea Party Republican candidates Sharon Angle of Nevada and Alaska's Joe Miller. She is on the boards of numerous conservative organizations, including the Bradley Foundation, the National Rifle Association. Mitchell played a major role in efforts to expel Geo Proud from the Conservative Political Action Conference, a major annual right-wing convention organized by the ACU. In 2013, conservative News Max magazine named Mitchell as one of the Republican Party's 25 most influential women. Mitchell has been a leading critic of the IRS, accusing the agency of targeting Tea Party groups. She testified before Congress in 2014, asserting that the commissioner of the IRS lied to Congress. She called for the IRS to be abolished. Investigations by Congress and federal agencies later concluded that there was no evidence that the IRS targeted conservative groups. Mitchell represented Donald Trump in 2011, defending him against accusations that he had violated federal election laws in an exploratory campaign for president. Mitchell was the trustee of APR Administrator Scott Pruitt's Legal Defense Fund. As trustee of that fund, she saw donations to the fund by individuals who had interests before the APR. In 2019, she represented Stephen Bannon's nonprofit, Citizens of the American Republic. In 2018, McClatchy DC reported that Mitchell, as a longtime lawyer for the NRA, had previously expressed concerns about the NRA's close ties to Russia and the possibility that Russia had been funneling cash through the NRA into Donald Trump's 2016 presidential campaign. Mitchell denied ever having expressed such concerns. Mitchell's name was included in a list of people that Democrats on the U.S. House Intelligence Committee sought to interview in connection with the committee's investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election. Mitchell was a staunch opponent of public health measures implemented at the state and local levels to halt the spread of COVID-19. In late September 2020, she attended a White House Eve